Yay.
How you doing, man?
Oh,
This is the lockdown hair.
oh man, it's better than mine, look.
How you doing?
I'm good, man, and you?
Yeah, good, good. Not bad.
Oh, man. Do you know, you guys, your hair is getting longer and your belly is getting smaller. My hair is getting shorter and my belly is getting bigger. That's not good.
You know, I was thinking, Andre, you're like the Joe Rogan of Nova Força.
I wish. Oh man, how you doing? You okay?
Mm,
How's the lockdown
good.
life? How's the lockdown life treating you?
It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, it's hard with the kids, you know, like having them indoors all day, and yeah, just trying to find things to do with them, although the wife does most of that. But do you know what actually they said today? They said, oh, you're speaking to Andre, I miss Andre, when are we going to speak to
Uh,
Andre?
that's so good. You know, I was running this afternoon and I was remember them like, oh, how fun. I still have the video. Like, oh yeah, did you like the swimming lessons? No, no. The swimming lessons you did it from there. Yes, yes, I like it. I like it. The video you sent it to me. Oh
Oh
man.
yeah, yeah. For anyone who's watching, if you got kids and you need a swimming instructor, this is your guy. This is your guy. My kids absolutely love him. I swear they prefer him to me.
Uh, no. They're so good, man. They're good guys, man. You know. Oh, so many people here today. Look, Iron Man, Cass, Jose. Who else? Chileno. Hey, Chileno. Chileno from Brazil. Dead. Oh, that's it. The Dead Drake, Carlos, Stuart, Jake. Yeah, man. Todd, Jess. Yeah, man. Good. Good crowd
Yeah,
supporting
I've
you.
been catching up on some of these on YouTube because I haven't been able to make all of them, you know, just because of the kids and all that. And I've been watching them on YouTube. It's really good, man. I love it. I love what you're doing.
Yeah, I just managed to load some today as well. It's just because it's it takes quite a while for the file because of the size of the video to load. So I take one day and then I load three and then I load three. So I just did some, and I was even checking the scores today. So you know, surprisingly enough, Richard Ford, he's the first place. He's the one that gets more people watching his his videos. Don't know if because his wife is like the family in Brazil or is his family here. So first place you have Richard, and then second place Ramon. So Richard is beating Ramon, and then third place Jose that's there watching, and then fourth place join. It's like Tim Radcliffe and then Nathan. So Richard is like on the top of the league. Let's see. Today I
Mm.
loaded Ricardo, so let's see if Ricardo gonna catch up.
When are you doing Ricardo?
I just loaded. We did it last Saturday,
Ah,
so I
oh, I
loaded
see,
it
I see.
today. Yeah, so it should be. Yeah, look, Chileno is doing dinner in Brazil there. Chileno, yes, man. We drinking some cheers here. Oh man, tell us a bit about your martial arts life, Paul. How does it start? When does it start?
Do you know, it's a funny question actually, because I was quite late into the martial arts game. My dad was actually a karate black belt, and he used to teach when he was younger. And I was really into all the Bruce Lee films and the Van Damme films and all that. I was born in the '80s, so that was my era, especially the Van Damme. And I always used to say to him, Dad, teach me some karate, teach me some karate. And he's like, no, do you know what? I feel like I missed out on the team sports. You should go and play football and rugby. And so I played all these sports, and to a reasonable level as well. But I always really, really wanted to do martial arts. And it wasn't until I'd kind of left school, left university, and I could pay for myself, and I'd stop just spending my weekends doing nothing but drinking. And that's the truth, I'm afraid. That I do you know what? I watched the UFC from 1993. I saw the first one and I was hooked. And so in 2006, I just Googled MMA school and I just found a place to go. And so it was I was 26. I was old, you know. I wasn't a young. It wasn't a young introduction to martial arts at all. And then, you know, 2007, very quickly, I found Nova FORÇA, and you know, as soon as I went to Nova FORÇA, I never went anywhere else again. And I transitioned to jiu-jitsu quite quickly.
Oh, but so you did that? You started on the MMA then?
So the idea was I wanted to do MMA. When I trained MMA, I did some, you know, very basic striking and takedown, that kind of shooter box stuff. But really, it was a lot of grappling, a lot of no-gi grappling. And then I played football with this guy. I've probably told this story before. I played football with this guy, and he said, I do this thing called Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu Jitsu. Do you know what that is? And I was like, no, I do MMA. That's like what the real tough guys do. And so he took me down to Nova FORÇA, and I saw these guys wearing these like costumes, these gis with their belts and everything. And I thought, oh, I'm going to beat these guys up easily. And I was like, a lot bigger at the time. I was really into weights. And yeah, obviously, you know what happened. They beat the crap out of me. I remember Tim beating me up quite specifically. I don't think Ricardo even spotted me that day. And then, yeah, and then I just loved the atmosphere down there. I loved everything about it. And I never went anywhere else again.
Wow, man. And who was that team? Who was there on your first day? Who else was?
The people that I remember from the beginning, there was Tubes, Rick, obviously. There was Rick's brother. There was there's a Tim, Dan Ballinger, Andy Langdon. I know Tim picked him as one of his 3 people he would have in a pub fight.
That's it.
Theo was there back in those days. Little Mark, he was there.
Did he have long hair back then?
Yeah, he had long hair. I wasn't quite sure if he was a boy or a girl at the time. Sorry, Mark, I'm only joking. I'm sure he choked me out anyway. But yeah, there's a lot of people that have, during my time at Nova FORÇA, that have come and gone, you know. So there's a lot of people from back then who aren't around it. Most of them probably, you know.
Yeah, man, that's it. And how do you feel like with the jiu-jitsu and MMA now? Do you still feel like doing MMA, or you just gave up completely?
No, I remember making a decision in about 2008. Until about 2008, 2009, I still thought, yeah, I'll start doing some Thai boxing and more wrestling, and then perhaps do some MMA. But then I kind of realized I was in my, you know, heading towards 30, and I thought, do you know what? You can either be really bad at everything or just pick one thing and try and be good at it. And so that's what I did. Yeah, and so no, I'm not, you know, I love watching MMA. But no, I don't have any aspirations to fight MMA at all. I'm 40, come on.
Yeah, man, but now is the new generation coming. Mike Tyson is coming back. The 50s, the old 20s now.
Yeah, true,
we just had Kaz yesterday. He said that he just turned up 50 now. So very good.
I watched that one. Yeah. So how old was he when he did his first competition?
He was 50 years old.
Jesus,
he turned 50 years old in February. So amazing.
That's brilliant. I love it. I love it.
That's it. White belt at 50s, full of energy and getting gold. That's amazing, man.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And do you prefer gi or no gi?
Oh yeah, I was watching you. You're talking to Jake about this. I was watching Jake's one on YouTube, and he said no gi, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, I don't think I can choose between the two. You know, I love them both. I always remember Marcelo Garcia being asked this question. He said, I don't understand this question. It's like, if I'm a kid and I've got a red car and a blue car, I like to play with both those cars. I don't have to have a favorite. And that's kind of how I feel about it. You know, they're different. I love I love like the aggression and the pace of no-gi, and the fact that it's so much easier to like slip in a choke or transition quickly. But then I love the technical aspect of gi, you know, the way you can slow it down, be very technical. You can't just escape a submission through power against a good guy. You know what I mean? You're going to have to use your technique. So, yeah, I love them both. I can't answer that question. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's all right. And by the way, how's your back? Is your back better now? I saw you doing some handstands. I got a bit concerned. I said, man, this guy upside down 24/7.
Yeah, no, I don't think my back's ever going to be better. Actually, funny enough, I had a consultation with someone at a private hospital recently, and the verdict is it's never going to be better. Especially the disc at the bottom of my back between what's called L5 and S1, if anyone knows what that is, it's pretty wrecked. Probably naturally, but also, probably some of the things I've done in my life have not helped so much. So it's more about managing it now. And with regards to training, about finding a way to train where I don't do it more damage, and being a bit more sensible. I've always been the kind of person who I never like saying no to anyone to spar. Whether I'm in pieces, my back's hurting or whatever, you ask anyone, I never say no. And that's silly really, because the clever people, when they're not in the right place, they say, do you know what, today's not, leave it till next week. And I'm going to have to start being more like that,
That's it.
So
yeah.
It's okay. It is what it is,
And do you find, like, being a black belt, that everybody comes like 100% on you, or not? What do you think? Like, all the other belts, they try to get the piece.
You definitely have a target on your back, don't you? Come on, we all know this. We all know this. Yeah. Yeah, there's no other answer. Definitely, yeah. I mean, I think sometimes it starts like that, but then once you get to know someone, you've been sparring a while, and you're kind of learning each other's games, and you begin to play a bit more. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It becomes more like a game rather than at the beginning. There's more like that competitive, egotistical aspect to it. That kind of dissipates after a while. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. I was asking Mark yesterday about it, something related to that, like if people come harder on him, because usually it's like for us that we're not black belts, if we get a submission in a black belt, it's like a trophy. But then for the black belt, it's just like, okay, I have to get you all, guys, So it's a bit like it's a challenge. But it's the way it is, isn't it? And do you go train in other gyms as well, Paul, or just the Nova Force? Have you ever been in another place to train?
Yeah, I used to do it sometimes. When I started, Nova Force wasn't as big as it is now. There weren't as many people to train with. Also, the training times were not as regular. So sometimes, if I wanted to train on a different night, for example, might not be available or whatever. Now, there's no need. I feel like at this point, the quality as well. I mean, how many black belts do we have now? There's quite a lot of black belts, There's some tough guys, even some guys who are not black belts. There's some we all know who I'm talking about,
Yeah.
There's a lot of tough guys. I don't feel at this point, in my jiu-jitsu career, so to speak, that there's a need to go anywhere else. Not anymore.
And how do you feel like with your belt? Do you feel when you receive the first time you receive your black belt, how did you feel? Did you feel confident enough, or did you have a bit like of a doubt, like, oh, will be a heavy weight to carry, or you just felt like I'm ready for it when it came?
No, I still feel that way. I never like to let myself feel too comfortable, I think that representing Nova Força and being one of Ricardo, we all know Ricardo doesn't give out belts easy, right? I think that's a fair comment. And so I definitely feel a responsibility, to represent Nova Força at a high level in that respect. So no, I don't ever feel, I definitely feel the weight of the belt, so to speak. And that's how I like it,
See it, yeah. And competition, Paul. What did you do? A lot of competition? Have you done a lot of competitions, or what's your background related to competitions?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't competed in quite a long time. It's probably 8 years or something now. In all honesty, when I started having kids is when I stopped competing. And then, everyone knows about my back.
Yeah.
Everyone knows about my back. But So it's been a while. And also back in those days, while I used to do all the competitions I could, it wasn't like now. You didn't have competitions all the time. You know, when I was a blue belt and a purple belt, sometimes when I was a white belt, there was like 1 or 2 competitions a year, you know. And if you were ill or injured, you just missed them. You know, so it's been a while. I got to be honest, you know, doing Jose's corner at Fusion gave me that itch to really want to compete again. And yeah, if I can get my back in shape where I feel like it's safe, you know, it's definitely something I'll look to do. I always wanted to compete as a black belt, and I've not done it. You know, and I always said, like, to be a real black belt, you've got to compete against other black belts. And I still feel like that, and it's still something I want to do. But it's got to be safe. You know, I don't want to have to go and have an operation on my spine because I'm just doing something to prove it to myself. You know, I can't do that.
Yeah, that was amazing. Jose stepping on the mats as well. That's a good example about he's not young neither. Like, he's just like us, so it's good. Mauricio, that's joined here as well, is another one that's competing. He been to Nova Força as well. He's from Brazil and he was training Nova Força as well. He does competition quite a lot. And Ilan does a lot of calisthenic exercise, and you've been doing a lot of that as well, isn't it? The calisthenic exercise, like upside down, like Ilan's style of training. Do you think this help your jiu-jitsu?
I don't know about that, but it looks quite cool.
But you've been doing that as well, don't you?
Yeah, it's because of Ilan that I was doing it. Because I remember about 2 years ago, he came to the gym and he was trying to do handstands. He was falling over and he couldn't do them anywhere. And then suddenly I look at Instagram, he's doing like handstands on the tube. He's doing handstands all over the place. And with this whole lockdown, and I always thought, do you know what, you don't have time to do handstands and be good at jiu-jitsu. There's just not enough time in the day. But with this whole lockdown thing, I just thought, I'm just going to spend 15 minutes, 10 minutes a day trying to do it, and I'm still rubbish. But yeah, it's a bit of fun. It's a bit of fun.
You're doing quite well, man. I saw the video on the Instagram, man. That's good. I think if I try, we'll be like we have to call the ambulance.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The first time I did it, I really hurt my hand. My hands are all bust, obviously, from jiu-jitsu. And the first time I did it, I fell over and I just tweaked the end of my finger, and it hurt for like a month.
You even got the technique to fall over. Like, I saw you don't fall like on the front. You just kind of fell like a bit sideways like this.
Yeah, I just didn't record those ones.
You just, every time you fell over, you were falling over like on your feet, like Swiss sideways. Oh, there's a technique there.
Yeah, but it wasn't always like that. Those were like later on. Believe there's a lot more fails than were on that video.
That was amazing, man. And Paul, who was your partner, like the same level, the one that was always challenging you and growing together with you and your journey in Nova Força?
It's interesting you asked this, actually. I heard you ask some other guys this question. You know, I've been training for a long time with Ricardo, and so there's been different people along the way, and I was thinking about it. But like you say, I think there's 3 types of people you train with. There's the people you beat up, right, and you can practice your techniques. There's the people who beat you up, and you're just happy if you survive, right? And then there's those people you're talking about, and it's like the kind of ones that you're just like, you know, pushing each other the whole time. And I remember when Jake got here, he was like kind of midway through his blue belt, becoming a purple belt, and he started to give me a lot of grief. And I was like used to being able to do as I please, you know, with most people. And he started giving me a lot of hassle. And at first, I think it hurt my ego. Do you know what I mean? And then I kind of embraced it. And we just used to train together all the time, like 3, 4, 5 times a week. And we kind of had this unwritten rule as well, whereby we would never hide our techniques from each other. You know, sometimes people like to, they have a technique and they keep it secret and they don't, because they want to use it on it. You know what I mean?
That's it.
There was none of that. We used to come in and say, like, what are you doing? What are you trying? And we would just, everything was like an open book. We were just, which is the way it should be with teammates, right? And I think that went on for like 3 years until he started working with Justin. And so yeah, during that time he became, you know, he definitely caught up. You know, he was like a brown belt and he got his black belt at the end. And you know, we used to have some great sparring, some hard sparring, some technical sparring, some messing about. So yeah, overall, if I had to choose one over the years, I think it would probably be him.
Jake, they just said that. Ricardo Ramon, they just said that Jake is a snake. Be careful, Jake.
Yeah. You've got to be careful. He is a snake.
He loves you, though. And Paul, what's your favorite game? Do you prefer play guard, or do you prefer play on the top? I know you're good on the heel hooks and all this stuff, but what's your favorite part of the game?
Guillotine.
Yeah.
Probably, I would say, like, it started off because I was like a lot bigger in those days. Started off like on top, like trying to bully people and pass their guards and, you know, smash them. And then Ricardo used to always be like, "Look, Paul, you can't do this all the time. You need to learn to play guard." And so I used to force myself. And nowadays I always play guard at the beginning, pretty much always. Like, so I think that over the years, just forcing myself to do it, I kind of fell in love with that. But again, it's kind of like both. But maybe if I had to choose one, maybe I'd play bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, because they do a lot of arm drags and like Marcelo Garcia style, isn't it? Like sitting down.
Yeah, I mean, Marcelo Garcia, definitely had a big influence on my jiu-jitsu. You know, butterfly guard, X guard, arm drags, guillotine, single leg X. You know, all those things. They're what I like.
Yeah.
He's short and stumpy like me with short arms.
Well, your build is stronger than him, isn't it? He's very slim, but you're still very agile. Like you can move quick and do all the.
Do you know what? He's
movement.
got big legs. I think he's got quite big legs. I sparred with him once, you know.
Yeah, you said, how was it? You went to his gym in New York, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about it.
I was awful. It was my wife's birthday the night before, and I got quite drunk. And I went there, and I was going to go to Henzo Gracie's, but they were. Long story short, I don't want to say too much on here, but it didn't really work out. And someone told me Marcelo Garcia had his academy in New York as well. And I went there, and they were just the friendliest guys. It was like going to NOVA FORÇA, you know. It was just like a big family, really friendly. And as we were sparring, I was sparring with some of these guys, and I was doing all right. And then I just looked over at the end of the round. You know, this is Marcelo Garcia. I didn't really realize what a legend. Like, he's like, kind of, to me, he's like the Mike Tyson almost, or Muhammad Ali. I didn't really realize this at the time. And I looked over and he just went, and I was like, yeah, okay, go in. And I tried to play half guard. Oh my God. He just destroyed my guard. He choked me out like so many times. He guillotined me about 5 times. He north-south choked me about 3 times. He did you know what an armbar crucifix is?
Yeah, that's
humiliating.
Humiliating.
And I was almost, you know, being a blue belt at the time and not really understanding how good this guy was. I was hungover as well. And I was like kind of making excuses to him afterwards, going like, "Oh, sorry, I'm a bit hungover," you know, like, as if he wouldn't have beat me up if I wasn't. Because this is when he was at his prime as well, you know. It was about 2010, 2011. But it was fantastic, really lovely, quiet, humble guy. So not like Mike Tyson in that way, but you know, lovely guy, really nice guy. And if anyone's in New York, I'd highly recommend you go and train at that place.
That's it, man. He won like ADCC many times, isn't it? Like for a guy of his size, it's just pure technique.
Yeah, and the Mundials as well. And
yeah.
He won everything, didn't he?
Yeah, and he comes from a small city in Brazil, like very little city in Minas Gerais, which is my state. So it's hard to, doesn't matter where you come from. If you have the dedication, it just makes all the difference, isn't it? Paul, what would be your advice for us that we're starting on the journey of jiu-jitsu?
What do you mean? Just generally?
Like in general towards jiu-jitsu, to be able to to have longevity. Like, for example, you said a lot of people give up through the journey and don't make it to black belt. So I'm pretty sure you saw plenty of people coming and go. What would be your advice for us to stay on the journey?
I think that's it, though. I think that's the whole thing. Just don't give up, you know. I know it sounds corny, right? But that's what they say, isn't it? Like a black belt is just a white belt who never gave up. It takes so long. Jiu-jitsu is not like other martial arts. You can't get a black belt in 3-4 years unless you're like one of these guys like BJ Penn who trains all day, every day because he doesn't have to work because his family's got loads of money or whatever. It's almost impossible. You know, those guys is a handful. It's just time. It's just don't give up. But, you know, as far as what made the difference for me in jiu-jitsu, it was you got to try everything, right? You can't know what you're going to be good at. But when you start to find what you're good at, you need to start building a game around that because no one is great at everything. And I still have to remind myself that all the time. You know, you see some of these top guys and they won't be very good in certain positions. You know, no one can be the best in every single position. Everyone has a game. And that's not to say you should limit yourself in training and you shouldn't try all the different things. But you also have to realize where your strengths are and your foundation is and then build from around that, expand your game. Rather, at the beginning, I was like taking a bit from here and a bit from there and a bit from here and a bit from here and a bit from here. It was all disjointed, you know. And then when I started to realize, oh, hold on, the butterfly guard works well. And look, the X guard goes well with that, and I like that too. And the guillotine goes well with that, and I like that too. And the arm drag as well. They kind of you're building a puzzle like from a central point rather than just throwing the pieces all over the place. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, that's it. Yeah. That's the way I think we feel sometimes at the beginning, isn't it? So many positions, so many. This is why I keep recording them, because in my head it was like some days I would come and then I would forget like what I did the week before. It's just like so many things to learn. It's like reading an encyclopedia and try to know everything by head. It's quite a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not like, look, you've got to practice everything because apart from anything else, you know, if someone else is doing it to you, you need to understand that position. You can't not understand the position if you're going to defend it, you know. But at the same time, you have to accept, you know, that I'm never going to be the best at triangles. Not with my back, with my short, stumpy legs. It's never going to happen, you know. But equally, I'm quite good at guillotines, you know. So you've got to work out where your strengths are and expand from that rather than trying to do things that don't. I used to play rubber guard, you know the Eddie Bravo style.
But do you still do the triangle? Do you have that triangle from the mount position that you use quite a lot as well? Isn't it like that when from the mount?
That's a good example though, right? So I'm a guy who's not got long, skinny legs who can throw up triangles from all positions. Like if you think about, you know, other people who, like Dan Ballinger, right? That guy can do a triangle from anywhere with his like flexibility in his legs. I'm not like that, but I know I can do a triangle from the mount, you know, because it just suits my body shape. And I think maybe going back to your previous question as well, you know, if you can potentially try and find something that suits your body shape and your physical attributes. Are you strong? Are you flexible? Are you skinny? Are you stocky? Are you fast? Do you know what I mean?
Yes, that's it. Yeah, it really makes sense. Yeah, play on your strengths, but be open to learn. That's it. Yeah,
I should have said that.
I have some questions here from the guys that they sent to you, and one of them was from Neil. What does
Neil
it
Reed.
mean? Yeah, what does it mean when you describe his sparring as a fat, cumbersome jiu-jitsu? Don't know if that's the pronunciation. Cumbersome. Is it cumbersome?
Cumbersome.
Yeah.
Well, fat, I think we all know what that means. Cumbersome, Neil, means that you're not very well coordinated. And what was the last bit?
Why you describe it? What was?
Why? Why? But I'm joking. I love you, Neil. Neil's a lovely guy, and he's a big. When I say fat, I call anyone who's big fat. I mean, you know, he might be playing a little extra around the middle, but just a little bit, you know, not too bad.
He's a dad now as well. He just asked.
Yeah.
He asked like, who is your favorite middle age lunchtime student, and why is it new?
It's obviously Neil. And I don't know, just because he's a great guy.
And then there's one from another lunchtime student here. Is how much space should a considered person take at the changing room when they're changing?
How much space should a considerate person?
A considerate person should take on the changing room.
Oh, is this a comment about how much space I use in the changing room?
I don't know. Probably.
Who put that question? I want to know who put that question. Was that Neil?
That was anonymous. That's what I can.
There's different rules for black belts, though, right?
I think so. Yeah.
That's what I was always told.
And then, what's your favorite brand of whiskey?
That was Neil.
That's Neil.
Yeah, he's a whiskey drinker. I like them all. I'm actually drinking bourbon tonight. I don't normally drink bourbon. This is like a Canadian whiskey. But I like variety. Variety is the spice of life, as they say.
That's it. Now we're gonna go for the smash or the flow. So I will ask you, I will say the name of the guy, and then you're gonna tell us if you're gonna go, when you spy, if you go to smash them, or if you're gonna go just flow and take it easy.
So you're gonna say the name of someone, and I have to tell you whether I want to spar with them, like flow, or smash them.
Or smash them. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. So first one will be Little Mark.
Flow.
Yeah. And then Jake.
Which Jake? Jake Archer?
The snake. Yeah.
Jake the snake. Well, if he's being a snake, smash, for sure.
And then Neil.
Neil, smash.
And
always
then
smash.
Ilan.
Well, you have to smash with Ilan, because otherwise he'll kill you.
That's it. And then Jose,
mixture.
That's it. Take it easy. And Ricardo,
I try and smash.
The first one that said that.
I try. I never give up.
Never give up. Paul, what's your words of wisdom to the Nova FORÇA crowd on this time of lockdown?
I got 3 words. Don't get fat. Everyone talks about getting fat during lockdown. I don't get it. When we're all working, everyone's like, I don't have time to plan my meals. I don't have time to train. And now everyone's got all the time in the world to plan their meals, all the time in the world to train, and they're all complaining about getting fat.
That's true. Always an excuse. There's always an excuse for.
Always an excuse. Yeah.
Paul, thank you so much, my friend. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the interview. Thank you for joining us there, man. I know you said at the beginning that you're not an internet fan, but you overcome it and you came to speak with us. Thank you so much, man. It's a great to have your support. It's very needed at this time for everyone to keep us together. So thank you so much, man.
Well, look, thanks for doing this. I think it's really cool that you're keeping the whole community together, and you know, yeah, just the whole thing. It's really cool. I'm gonna watch the rest of them that I haven't seen on YouTube. So well,
thank you.
Thank you.
Say hello to the family for me, brother. Take care. Bye bye.
Yeah, mate.